Hi, I'm Rachel Anthony. Welcome back to my channel. Today, what I have deemed Writing Wednesdays, I'm going to talk about defining your own path. As a self-published author, there are many ways we can choose to write and publish our work. So, in doing research on YouTube and going to writing conferences and things like that, I've learned that there are as many different ways to write and publish as there are stories out there to write and publish. I want to use this video to emphasize that you should choose what's right for you. It's so easy to try to emulate others who've been successful in the same space, but I think it's very important to understand from what you learn and what you research, what would fit best for you, your writing style, your lifestyle, and your budget, quite frankly. So one of the things that I've noticed when I'm doing my research or I'm watching some of my favorite self-published authors on YouTube is they stress the importance of writing a series. Because that's really what's going to get your readers to keep coming back to reading your books. If you find a reader who is interested in a book in your series that is further down in the series, it will encourage them to go and read the previous releases within that series. And all of those are valid points for those who enjoy series or whose story warrants a series. I wrote A Time for Us as a standalone novel. And and I only realized after editing and having my beta readers read it and give feedback and having my editors give feedback that the story is definitely a standalone story, but the readers would love at least a sequel. And that prompted me to write book 2, which I'm in the process of writing right now. So at the most, it'll be a duology. It will not be a series, but that decision had nothing to do with the trends in self-publishing. It had everything to do with the story itself. So don't be coerced, for lack of a better term, by authors feeling the need to release a series in order to get their readership. You find the story that you want to write, and if that's a series, amazing. If it's not, that's fine. Do standalone books. Standalone books get readership. So don't be coerced into that frame of thinking. The other thing that I notice a lot is indie authors, self-published authors are really big on publishing many books per year, 2, 3, 4 books a year. And again, it's to keep your readers engaged. Because they are writing series, they want to get the next book in the series out as soon as possible. And again, for them, that probably makes sense. I can tell you, for me, it does not work for me for a couple reasons. One, my writing process. I don't feel like I'm a writer that has the ability to put out that volume of work in a year for a couple reasons. One, I have a day job. I still work in corporate America, and that takes up at least 40 hours of every week. So I am not an author solely. I do have other responsibilities. The other thing is it takes me time to work through my writing process, to write my first draft, to put thought into how I want to massage that first draft before I begin editing. And then editing is a whole process within itself that for me can take months. And then once you're through the editing process, then it comes the publishing process. How these authors get so many books published each year is mind-boggling for me. I'm happy for them. I'm glad it works for them. It would not work for me. So I will not try to emulate that because it's going outside of what I feel I can do and do well. The other thing is talking about writing processes is every writer has their own process. I take my time in my first draft, and then I think about the plot. I go back and take several swipes at my own revisions before I even get to the formal editing process. So I will talk about my process in more detail in another video, but my process is my process. It works for me. You have to do what works for you. You have to find what's comfortable for you. If you can spit out a rough draft in, a month or less and then get straight to the editing process, good for you. That's just not the way I work. So find what works for you and then settle into that, because that's where you're going to find your success. Writing tools. You'll find so many writers use different tools, based on what works for them. So they'll use different writing software, different editing software, different formatting software. And it can be expensive depending upon the software that they choose. Again, you don't need expensive tools to get your writing done. You can do all of your writing for free. So don't come out of pocket spending a bunch of money trying to buy the softwares that you see other authors buying because it works for them. Do what works for you, use what you have, and then grow from there. That's my approach. I started out on Microsoft Word. I wrote my first novel in Microsoft Word, and I'm writing my second novel in a different software because after learning about the new software, which I'll share with you in a different video, I think that it is more conducive to compartmentalizing your plot, your characters, and shifting around things in your novel, where Microsoft Word isn't that flexible. So that's why I shifted over to the software I'm using now. But Microsoft Word was what I had, and that's what I used, and it worked perfectly for me. My editing process, like I said, you have to choose what you feel is right for you. Some self-published authors do their own editing. They have that ability. I follow one person on YouTube who is a college instructor in writing. So she has that backing. She can do her own editing. My degree is in biochemistry. It is not in writing. So I am not going to trust that process to myself. So I will outsource that. I will go through my revisions. I will try to get it as tight as possible before putting it in front of an editor. But I am not going to entrust myself to do that process. So you have to figure out for you, where your strengths lie, where you can tap into those strengths to do things yourself, and where you need to outsource. Again, don't try to follow what other authors do because it works for them. What works for them may not work for you. The last thing I want to talk about is marketing. I notice quite shockingly that a lot of the self-published authors that I follow on YouTube, and even in the writing communities that I follow and writing conferences that I go to, they are so focused on putting out volumes of work rather than marketing the work that they put out. And I'm one novel in, and it hasn't even been officially launched yet. It'll be launched on January 27th, so less than a month from today. But I cannot imagine just putting my work out there in the hopes that readers will find it. There's so many different types of ways you can market your work, but I feel it is important to do some type of marketing. You, as your own individual self, will need to determine what that looks like for you. For me, I went all in. With the publishing company that I went through, there was a marketing package that I included with what I paid for them to publish my book. And with that came marketing copy that they wrote for me, came marketing materials that they provided for me, came Newswire through public relations that they put out for me. And then in addition to that, I also hired a social media manager because that is not my strength. And I'm doing ads on social media. So I wanted to put my novel in front of as many eyes as I could in order to get the word out there. Another thing that you can do to help market your book is getting reviews. So there are ways that you can get ARC readers to read your book and then put reviews out there, because reviews are essentially marketing. So that is the route I took, but I found that many self-published authors don't spend their time and money on the marketing piece. They're more focused on getting as many pieces of work out there as they can, and that's what they feel would draw in their readership. So it's working for them. I'm happy for them. I'm taking a different route because I'm not going to do A, the volume, and B, I am not going to wait to see if people just stumble upon my novel. I want to put it out there and let people know how good I think it is and how much I think they should read it. So again, based on your budget, what you feel is right for you, you determine how you want to put your book in the world. So I said all that to say this. Do your research. Find those self-published authors that you enjoy watching, that you enjoy learning from, and then take from them what you feel works for you. Don't try to emulate everything they're doing. It's a lost cause and a losing battle. Find your own space, your own approach, and implement that. That's where you're going to find your success. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe, and come back next Wednesday for another Writing Wednesday, where I'll share another tidbit in my writing journey.